Pylon listeners, welcome back to the pod. There's a lot going on. One of our NFC North teams is headed to the NFC North Championship. I'm, of course, talking about the Green Bay Packers. We'll be talking about that divisional game against the Rams in a second. But before we do, let's introduce the rest of the Pylon crew. So I'm Big Z representing the Detroit Lions. Let's go around to the rest. We got Kinger representing the aforementioned Green Bay Packers. How you feeling, Kinger?
Feeling great. Back-to-back NFC championships. Can we talk about what a great job Matt LaFleur has done for the Green Bay Packers and what impact he's had on the organization? This is exciting stuff. Looking forward to next weekend, that's for sure.
I'm sure we'll get into that more here as we go on throughout the episode. And then we got Remy representing the Vikings.
Skull Vikes, baby. Next week's just going to prove why Brady is undoubtedly way better than Rodgers. And come on, Minnesota fans, anybody but the Packers. Sorry, Kinger. Go Vikes.
And then last but not least, we got Barney representing the Bears. And I'm sure he's excited to see the Packers succeeding here throughout the playoffs.
You took the words right out of my mouth, AZ. Can't wait for Tampa Bay to just curb stomp these dudes.
All right, I think we'll get into that a little bit throughout the episode, but let's first talk about this game here, Kinger. The Packers pretty much, I thought they dominated this game from beginning to end, really, especially on the offensive side of the ball against the number one defense in the NFL, putting up 32 points, but didn't really just seem to ever lose control of this game.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more there, Big Z. I would say there's definitely times in the game, especially in that second half, when the Rams did have it to 7 points after that, pretty slick 2-point conversion play, laddering the ball back to Cam Akers and him getting in the end zone. So, the Rams, at least, they did keep it close, but I do agree, and I think most would say that, Green Bay really did dominate that football game. That elite defense that the LA Rams had shown to be this year really did not play quite at that elite level. I think a lot of that comes down to, the scheme and the plan that Green Bay had on the offensive side of ball. Obviously Aaron Donald not being 100%. You could tell he was not at his normal elite level. Of course, McVay saying that they weren't limiting his snaps, but everybody saw it out there. And, I think on the very first play of the game, I think Lindsley popped him on the side on a block on the inside there, and he went down immediately. And I'm sure just to start off, just a nice shot to the ribs was not the way he wanted to envision that game to start. But got to be very pleased with the offensive side of the ball. Very balanced. Most rushing attempts, the Packers have had in a playoff game. I think it was 37 rushing attempts.
36 for 188.
Yep, 36 for 188.
5.2 a carry.
Yeah, and the offensive line played outstanding again. And everybody, having concerns coming into this. How was it gonna perform? Obviously without Bakhtiari, injuries across the front, but they handled him very well, not allowing a sack. And when you give Aaron Rodgers time, and I think we've shown this season we can score on anybody. So it was a great team win. Very excited. First time we'll ever host an NFC Championship in Lambeau in Rodgers' career. At least as him as the starter. And, props to the Rams for making it a competitive game there at the end. But, I think the better team won, and here we go. Back to where we were last year.
Yeah, absolutely. And this will be the first time Aaron Rodgers is hosting a NFC North or NFC Championship game, right, Kinger?
Yep, first time. So when the Packers hosted it versus Seattle in 2007 when Favre was the quarterback, but that was when Rodgers was the backup. So this is the first time he's ever the starter in Lambeau.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but the Packers 0-for-3 in their last 3 NFC Championship games?
Yep, haven't been there since the Super Bowl year.
Yeah, you're right. No, you're absolutely correct there. Yeah.
Way to chime in there, Remy.
Yeah, so Remy, how
negative about the Packers is mentioned.
Yeah, that's what these guys, Barney and Remy, getting emotional this week, going with the Rams. Were you guys really confident in that? Was that more of an emotional pick? Would you say?
I was definitely picking with emotion, but I was also pretty confident that Aaron Donald would play better. I think Aaron Donald let his emotions get to him. We saw him kind of freak out and, get that. He had to be talked down by a couple teammates and everything and his coach, but he just wasn't 100%. And, props to the Packers for squeaking this one out. It's I hate Green Bay.
Way to wrap that one up there.
Remy's always at least honest with himself or honest with everybody. He knows, everybody knows by now. Right. He goes with his emotions, so I can't hate on that too much. At least that's
we are 100% cheese free on
there. That's a new
Remy
one, but I love it.
at least take some solace in the fact the Saints lost this weekend, right, Remy?
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Kinger, so, I mean, someone else that impressed me a lot in this game, I mean, he's already first-team All-Pro, but Corey Linsley, I thought, played arguably the best game of the year at the right time.
Absolutely. I mean, credit to him. He's a guy that deserves to get paid this offseason. Obviously elite year at the center position, one of the best in the league. And he continues to do it on a week-to-week basis versus the league's best. Ton of credit to him. He's got.
How old is he?
I think he's right around 30, 29, 30, I want to say. Maybe a little bit younger than that, actually.
How is your O-line?
Corey Linsley's 29.
29.
He's 29.
Yeah. Sorry, was that, Remy?
How is your O-line on age?
Oh, we've got.
There's got to be some guys starting to get up there, eh?
No, we're really we've got a good young core there, right? Obviously, Corey Linsley, 29 years old, Elgton Jenkins, our left guard that, like I said, very easily could have been All-Pro this year had he not switched around and had to play as many positions as he had. Bakhtiari, I think, is 28 years old as well. So, I mean, that whole left side of the line as well.
Rick Wagner's 31.
Well, yeah, exactly. And I don't know that Rick Wagner is a part of the long-term solution. I think Billy Turner's north of 30 as well. But we've got John Runyon Jr. out there who's a rookie. Simon Stepanak, who is a project out of Indiana. He was hurt on IR most of the year, but they're saying they've got potential for him next year as well. So, it's obviously O-line is a constant challenge in the NFL, is trying to build that depth. The Packers have historically done a pretty good job of it, and we've got some key pieces locked in. Hopefully we're going to lock in Linsley as well. Still got Jenkins on that rookie contract for a while, and hopefully we can continue to build and fill those gaps as we need to.
I hate that Rick Wagner's turned into like above average right tackle. I knew it would happen once the Lions got rid of him. The Lions pay him as a top right tackle in the league. Then he goes to Green Bay. He's paid like a bottom third right tackle, and now he's playing like a top. Like the Lions were paying him to play. I just knew it would happen.
Big Z.
That's the way it goes.
Big Z, you know all about this with Mike Remmers, and it happened to me too when he comes to the Vikes and doesn't do anything.
Who's Mike
and
Remmers?
Then goes to the Chiefs.
Who's Mike Remmers?
It wasn't your guys' right tackle
plays,
there for a while?
Are you talking about Riley Reef?
Oh, we got Reef from
Yeah.
him. My mistake. I thought we got Remmers. Yeah. Disregard all that now. I sound like an idiot.
Well, I mean, Riley Reef's played decent for you, but he also played decent for us. He hasn't he hasn't exceeded expectations like Rick Wagner has for the Packers this year, I would say.
Rick Wagner's definitely a guy that has not gotten enough credit.
One last thing I'll say and then I'll back off Kinger for this episode maybe. Now, are you convinced that it's Matt LaFleur getting the Packers to a meaningful playoff game, or do you think it's your Hall of Fame quarterback who's only won one Super Bowl in 10 years?
I think you have to give a lot of credit to the LaFleur scheme and what he's brought to Green Bay. Now, I don't want to take away from the play that Aaron Rodgers has produced this year because it's elite level quarterbacking and some of the best that he's played in his career, but this system and this scheme, the balanced offense, the rushing attack that Green Bay has lacked for so many years, to pair that with one of the most accurate quarterbacks of all time, it's a great combination. And I think that's why we've had so much success. Everybody said last year, even in year one, the fact that they made it to the NFC Championship, in that first year in that new scheme, it was pretty impressive. And it wasn't a well-oiled machine. Everybody saw that. There were fits last year where they really struggled, but there was confidence in year two with our guys that we had in the system that it was going to excel and it was going to be a lot of improvement. And I think it's shown to be the case, right? I mean, obviously the number one offense in the league this year. It's scheme mixed with having an elite quarterback, and you have a chance to do something special. And that's what the Packers have done, obviously, back-to-back NFC championships. LaFleur becoming the sixth coach in NFL history to do that. I mean, obviously, you're right. You are inherited a great opportunity with one of the best ever, but it takes a lot to get there, and obviously, you have to give LaFleur a lot of credit.
And the thing with like you were saying, Kinger, the marriage of the run game with LaFleur and then Aaron Rodgers in the pass game has been perfect. This is what Kyle Shanahan would want his offense to look like, is what we're seeing here. Because LaFleur comes from the Kyle Shanahan, or the Shanahan offensive tree. So this is the ideal. Because Kyle Shanahan has
about
Sean
it,
McVay
quarterback
too.
away.
Both those guys, if they had Aaron Rodgers in their system, both those offenses would have the potential to be off the charts good.
They are a quarterback away. If you think about it, look at the Niners around the defense they have and the offense plagued by injuries. I mean, you got arguably one of the best DNs in the game, and then one of the best players in the game, and George Kittle on the other side of the ball. You give them a good quarterback, and we might have a new competitor in the NFC.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, and that's what I'm saying about this perfect marriage and how it's worked out for them. There was another. The fact, and you can see it with the boot. If you have any question, the amount of bootlegs that the Packers do, and you look at the 49ers and how they operate their offense, and even the Tennessee Titans, like bootleg, and there's
Minnesota Vikings even with Stefanski last year.
Yeah, exactly.
That's Kurt's
exactly.
bootleg rollout.
Yeah, that's another one for sure.
We rely so heavily. The success of that offense relies so heavily on the run game. To set up that play action, like you said, and all those bootlegs, and it was another perfect example of that again this week, right? Like you said, very successful running the ball, and then obviously Aaron had some great throws. The one where he smiled right before the snap, he knew ahead of time he had him beat with the play action Lazard, and if Aaron has a little bit better throw on that one earlier in the game, Packers easily could have put up 40 points against the league's best defense, number one ranked defense. So it's a lot of fun to watch. It's something that we have not seen in Green Bay. We saw, just kind of the potential of it last year. We were just starting to scratch the surface with it. And for us to excel this year, it's obviously been a ton of fun to watch. And, got to hopefully keep the train rolling heading into next week.
So let's flip it to the other side of the ball really quick here, Kinger, the defense. And there's someone that you mentioned when we were talking before about this, Rashawn Gary. Arguably one of the best games he's had in his career against the Rams here. Maybe you want to touch on him for a little bit, because I think you think the perception on him is that he is underrated. I
mean, it's starting to trend that way, right? Or if you at least go back and take a look at some of the receipts on a lot of these reporters, a lot of these analysts out there, and people were not high on Rashawn Gary when he was drafted. But if you go back and you take a look at the linebackers coach, Mike Smith for the Packers, you go take a look at his interview. He basically sums it up in just a couple quick things. He's like, this is a kid who loves football. There were people out there knocking his hustle. He's like, I talked to every single coach at Michigan. This kid loves football. He doesn't hustle. He's always attentive. He's always ready to learn. And he's got a lot of raw talent, right? So they were high on him early. And last year, he started to scratch the surface a little bit. They had him rushing outside a lot. Actually, Ben Fennell from The Athletic, he did a great write-up on this today. And a lot of Gary's success this year has come from being more inside-leaning rusher, right? Using more of that physical strength that he has. He has a lot of speed, and he's a load for a lot of offensive tackles. So like I said, he's just starting to hit that potential. 7 pressures in this game. The highest-rated pass rush for the last 4 weeks of the season. I think him with Za'Darius Smith and Kenny Clark in that middle or on that defensive line, I think that's a very solid front three, and Gary's showing he can really produce, starting to be able to produce from that side of the ball.
Yeah, but I do believe that Gary wasn't giving his 100% effort. The hustle thing was a legitimate argument, I thought, for college. Because if you talk to Michigan coaches, of course they're going to say good things, because it makes them look good if they get picked higher. So I'm always skeptical of those things. But I mean, throughout the season here, I'm just looking at his PFF grades right now. He hit 75 a couple times in the middle of the season, but overall, he was around 60 or lower. But the last 3 games, Tennessee, Chicago, and LA, he's been above 90. So I maybe something clicked, or maybe the games mattered more, and that's when he started to play harder. I don't know what it is, but everybody thought he always had the talent. It was just a matter of putting the talent and the amount of effort all together in one, and that'll at least click the last 3 weeks. Remy.
Yeah, and I'll go on record saying I was actually kind of disappointed because correct me if I'm wrong. Did you guys traded up for him, right?
No, we
Kieran?
didn't trade up for him.
When did you guys get him? Wasn't
He was
that
picked 12th overall.
12th, yeah, 12th.
That's when. Okay, so when I saw you guys pick when you guys got Rashawn Gary, I was like, here we go, here comes the defense, and to see him kind of just underperform, at least from my expectations, I thought he was going to come in and be like your Anthony Barr who can cover, like a great edge rush guy who can cover, and I like the dude. I think, maybe he just was off to a slow start. He's definitely surrounded by, and excuse me, Viking fans, this is the only time I will give or talk up the Packers. But the Packers seem to be like eyeing the defense that is just right across the border in Minnesota. And they said, well, how can we build a defense just like that when obviously they have Daniil Hunter and, the Juggernaut and Eric Kendricks and Harrison Smith. You really can't. Anyway, so what Green Bay tried to do is they tried to, build that front heavy, and I like it. So props to them, and I think Gary is going to be really big in the playoffs and definitely next year. I think he's going to break out.
I love it, and he's
Say
always
something positive about the Packers.
Hey, like I said,
you
Remy,
okay over there?
That's it. That's
very kind. And everybody, like I said, everybody's always his athletic traits and combine numbers were off the charts for a man that his size, right? So it was all about just trying to develop that talent. I think he's got a good group of coaches. Like I said, I really like Mike Smith, our linebackers coach. I think he does a good job with those guys, even though it's been historically a weaker position. It's just we haven't had a lot of depth there. But I'm pleased with his progress, and obviously he's been a major factor here on this run we're on, and it hopefully it continues to help. And it obviously is a huge bonus when you have the success we're having as well in coverage with Jair on the other side, who also had a fantastic game again today.
Definitely. So I mean, do you like? Are you confident? I guess just a quick little preview. The Packers will be hosting Tampa Bay. It looks like it's a 3-point spread. And we'll talk about it a little later in the week, the game a little more in detail. But what is your first impression about playing Tampa Bay?
Well, I love we get a rematch Adam, right? I mean, that was, the Packers' dumper game this season. Played terrible, lost 38-10. So I'm happy we get another shot at him in Lambeau. Truth be told, I would have loved to see the Saints again. I think the Packers obviously maybe match up a little bit better with them. And from a selfish perspective, Breeze being a Purdue guy, I would have had a NFC North, so a good reason to root for either of the NFC teams, obviously, depending on the outcome of the NFC Championship. But that's not the case. Obviously, I think Tampa Bay is the better team. They deserve to be there. So we'll see. It's going to be nerve-wracking for sure, but I love it. Give us another shot at Tom. You got to beat the best to get back to that Super Bowl, and it's going to be a great matchup for everybody next week.
How bad did Drew Brees look in that game? Ooh.
It was tough.
Could throw the ball more than 20 yards.
It was tough to see him go out like that, obviously. But, I can't say enough good things about Drew Brees, and, it's been a lot of fun watching him play football over the years.
Yeah. And there was all the games were at least highly competitive this weekend, thank God, compared to the weekend before to a degree. That Ravens-Bills game is a lot closer than the 17-3 score. If there's no pick six, who knows what happens down the stretch there. And then that Cleveland-Kansas City game was just bonkers with Mahomes going out. It looks like Mahomes is going to play next week, most likely.
I thought when I read, they said, at least earlier today, Andy Reid, I thought, said he wasn't sure yet. He's not like a medical expert. As long as they're preparing to go without him, obviously, as you would. But my impression got that he might not, but I think he probably will.
Well, Jay Glazer said on Sunday that the concussion he suffered was like not a normal concussion. Like he kind of like got choked out and like felt like concussion like symptoms, but he still had to go through the process. The reports are that Patrick Mahomes is going to practice. We're recording this on Tuesday, so he's going to practice tomorrow on Wednesday, and which is what you would need to have happen in order to start that. There's like what is the protocol? You got to like warm up, then you got to like have a contact process, then pass one more test, and then you're free to go. It's like a whole thing now. But he's doing what he needs to do to be ready. I think the big concern for the Chiefs actually is Mahomes' toe, but because he's like hobbling around. Also, why are the Chiefs running a quarterback sneak or like a quarterback like end run when your quarterback is already like playing on one foot? Bizarre. Anyways, we don't need to talk about that. But man, the Packers moving on. Kinger's feeling good. Kinger's feeling really good, and the Packers are favored. They get the Buccaneers at home, so there'll be a lot more to talk about later this week as we get ready for Green Bay hosting the Buccaneers at 2:00 on Sunday. They get the early game on Sunday, so Kinger get a nice.
One
nice
thing
sleep.
for you, Kinger. One last jab at you. Antoine Winfield Jr. Watch out.
Another week, another guarantee. We're going to have a Remy Buccaneers winning prediction. So can't wait to hear that for the next episode, but here we go.
All right, so I think that's going to wrap it up. Instagram at The Pylon, Twitter at The Pylon Pod. Please subscribe or follow us on both those platforms. In addition, please subscribe on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts, and please leave a review. We really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll be back later this week to discuss the upcoming NFC North Championship game. So enjoy the middle of your week, and we'll be back at you at the end of this week. Enjoy.